interested in prevention by way of Newton spade because there's too many animals that are being dropped off. And when you don't, responsible about taking care of the Newton spade of an animal, then there's like so many animals that don't get a home, that are hungry, that either get injured out in the wild, and then they have to either find those animals and then rehabilitate them and then end up getting a new home for them. A couple of months ago, I did a thing for the Pet Expo, and one of the beautiful classes I did at the Pet Expo was to teach a class like this. And the whole reason to teach a class like this is to give you the tools to communicate so that people won't treat their animals badly, and that the animals then know what to do. The Humane Society really wants to eventually become more of a learning center where you could go take classes, where it's an educational center versus a housing center for animals, for feeding and taking care of them, finding new homes. When I went there, I went and looked at all the dogs and cats that were in the compound, and what I did was I gave each of the dogs information on how to get a new home, because some of them were like jumping around and barking and wagging their tails and just doing their own thing, not paying any attention to the people. And if you want to get a good home, to ensure that if you wag your tail and you stare at the person's face and you engage that person from an emotional point of view, then most likely you're going to get home. So if you're going to go and help at any Humane Society or any shelter, and give the animals the information that they need to get a home. See them wagging their tail, tell them, wag your tail and look up at the person. Look at this, look straight at the person. And then we'll talk about how to help an animal that's a barker or a chewer or an animal that's peeing, so that they don't get dropped off. That's the major focus of why we're doing these classes at this point. Now, yesterday, what's your name? Leslie. Leslie came up to me when I came in and said, "Oh, it worked." Leslie, would you mind telling the group exactly what you did and what happened with your horse? What the horse did?
With my barrel horse, she was running 18s to 20s on her barrels, and her turns weren't very smooth in her running. And Samantha told me how to help her turn better. So, and just explained to her what I wanted her to do, and it worked. And we ran 15 or 14-2 yesterday.
Great.
And her turns were a lot better.
And their turns were a lot better. See, for an athlete, their coaches usually have them do this. The coaches, if you want to win an Olympic race, then they have you run the race in your mind and feel hitting that ribbon. It's the same thing. Pretending that you're accomplishing your goal. And for the animals, the more visual you are, the more that they get the clarity of the information. Now, we're going to talk, because yesterday we talked a teeny tiny bit about sending information. Today, I want you to watch a video of me going into Belmont Racetrack, and you'll see me just walk by several horses and stop and talk to them. And the reason I want you to watch this is more on how I receive the information. And we'll start and talk a little bit of how I receive information so that you can do that with your animals. And then we'll get into refining sending, because my most important that I feel is for us to learn at this time, how can we give clear information to all animals so that we don't abuse them, so we don't abandon them, so that they feel loved and cherished. Okay? In New York. And I used to go there a lot and do quick read-ups because it's a lot of money. The better the horse runs, the more money you get. Yeah, I'm hanging on there.
this is,
This is Keep It Easy.
keep it easy. Keep it easy, wow.
Watch how my personality
Okay,
changes.
keep it easy. I want to immediately go in here and work on the chest. Yes, I know we've got problems on this chest. And it seems to me that there's something on more of the right side than, or the left side than the right side. I'm not too sure until I get in and touch, and then I ask some questions. But I feel something is off on that chest right away immediately. And you're going to let me touch you, sweetheart?